Hi, I'm Sarah from Santa Cruz Tech Beat with Gerry Baranano with Tech Futures Group. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Oh, thank you for being willing to talk to us.
Absolutely.
So, you're part of SBDC
Right.
and the Small Business Development Center, which has a long history of helping small businesses get started. And Tech Futures Group have their own in-depth focus on tech companies. So, when did that start and what is the group's purpose?
Great. Yeah. So I was one of the founders. We started back in mid 2012, so about 8 years ago. And what we noticed was there was a lot of tech companies here. There were a lot of tech companies, both startups and existing companies, that weren't getting assisted or helped by the SBDC. So we started the Tech Futures Group to help the special needs of tech companies, which are very different than Main Street businesses, which is mostly what the SBDC does.
All right, thank you. And so it's free and it's state funded. So what sorts of companies do you help and how do you help them?
Sure. So we're funded both by the state of California and the Small Business Administration. It's a federal program. So those are our funders. And they look to us to provide three things for our customers. One is help them raise capital. In our world, it's mostly equity and grants. There's a little bit of loans as well in there. And then the other two come afterwards, increase jobs and increase revenue for the companies. So if you raise $1 million, you're likely to hire people, jobs will go up. If you raise $1 million, you're likely to get to market more quickly and more successfully, so revenue will go up. So that's what those are the three KPIs, key performance indicators, that they hold us to. And they ask us to work with companies in the entire spectrum of company formation, from pre-company, so a researcher with an interesting technology, no team, the technology isn't mature, no product market fit. So we help them figure out how to get the intellectual property out of that organization, to protect it, and to get going as a corporate entity, all the way to raising money. And then on the other end of the spectrum is a small company that's been around for 10 years, still small, still tech. Our sweet spot is in between, a team, not an individual, somebody who has beta product or better, a good understanding of the product market fit, because they're in a really good position to start raising money and really take off. We work with all industries and technologies. So we're not technology specific. So we work with everything. And we identify technology as a pretty broadly. So it's obviously anything with intellectual property, but also an interesting amalgamation of existing technologies. Facebook, not one of our clients, but Facebook might be an example of, you incorporating a bunch of different technologies into a new product.
All right. Yeah, that's interesting that I like that you have a broad range of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know you also have a lot of experts, including Santa Cruz local IP attorney Pat Riley,
Right.
um, who many of us know. What other kinds of experts do you have?
So the way it works, and this looks answer your question, is if you apply to Tech Futures Group, applications online and it's free. We review them and then we pair the applicant with one of our entrepreneurs in residence, serial entrepreneur who's had a good exit or two. They're all high net worth individuals, they're investors, and they provide CEO level to CEO level advice,
Mm.
and then bring in our specialty advisors to help them if needed, like Pat Riley, who's intellectual property. We have somebody who also does manufacturing, so it helps with a lot of manufacturing issues. We've done a lot of medical, which is very specific manufacturing. We have somebody who does financial modeling, so that the team, the entrepreneurial team, understands their industry better and their tech and their company better, and is better prepared for pitches to VCs and angels. We help with that. And then we also help with government grants. We've been extremely successful with government grants, and that's a big part of what we do.
All right. And so I know you have a lot of success stories. Could you share one of your top three success stories in California?
Sure. So there's one that's down in Santa Cruz, Scoot Science. And what they have developed is a SaaS platform, a software platform, which collects data from the ocean
Mhm.
and provides that data to fish farms, to environmental groups, to insurance companies, so that they understand what's the health of the ocean and understand what's going on in terms of you know waves and all that kind of stuff as well, right? So they've raised about $1.5 million through our assistance. They're a great team. They had a team when they joined us, and they're probably going to need to shift a little bit. A lot of what the team thought when they came in is we're in the oceanographic business, and we say, well, no, you're actually in the enterprise software business. So it's a big shift for them, but they've done extremely well, and we love them. There's another couple that we've had that are interesting. There was one that I worked with, Sandstone Diagnostics, which was a medical diagnostic company pulled out of Sandia National Labs. It's a researcher, no corporation, no team, no nothing. They raised about $4 million, and they shifted from doing highly medical things like blood analysis and that kind of thing, which they got a government grant to do now analysis for in vitro to get babies, right? So it's basically sperm is what they're working on, that part of it. So that's another one. So we did that. And then there's a third one, which is a service aid that started as a company focused on the construction industry, to help track everything that goes on in a construction site. And the big construction site is very complicated. They were getting no traction. So our entrepreneur in residence, a man named Hong Wong, came in and had them pivot. He spent many hours getting them to pivot. They went and pivoted to serve the IT departments in big corporations and big entities. They raised, I think, $3 million with our help, and they're basically off to the races.
Wow, that's great. Great to hear about.
So 3 different companies, 3 different industries, 3 different things.
3 totally different companies.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like people to know about your program?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One is we want very much for everybody to succeed, and so we are willing to accept, obviously, companies that want to be the next Google, right? The $1 billion, but it's not necessary. If an individual comes to us or an applicant comes to us and says, at the end of the day, this will be a $20 million business, maybe in 5 years, it'll hire maybe, a couple dozen people, but that's all I want. We say, God bless you, come on in, we'll help you. You don't have to be the next Google. So we're very, very focused on folks who want just a small business rather than, to do something. If you do want to change the world, be the next Google or Facebook, we know how to do that as well. So we help you as well. So we gauge that. We have been extremely successful in figuring out what you need when you need it. And we have an integrated model of advising. So the entrepreneur in residence manages the account and then brings in specialty advisors as you need them, with obviously your discussion. And we're all great people.
Well, that's a good note to end on.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. And hopefully I'll see you back in Santa Cruz once everything gets a little bit more back to normal.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.